You ask me, Harris, who's a team that no one believes in that can win it all, that you believe can win it all? I think that team's Miami. I think there are two teams that match up very well with Ohio State. Indiana being one, Miami being the other. Now, of course, an OSU coach will never outwardly say this, but internally, when they saw they were playing Miami in the second round, I'll bet you they were probably thinking, that's not the draw we wanted. Because the thing about Miami, let's look at this team critically. Okay. First off, a lot of people will say, Harris, they're 10-2 ACC team. We need to go more so into the how than the what, because there's always more context in the how. Miami, kind of like Ohio State last year, lost in very fluky and unsustainable fashions. Remember, Ohio State was 10-2, but they lost to Oregon because Will Howard didn't slide. They lost to Michigan because they just kind of forgot how good they were, I would say. Miami lost to Louisville because Carson Beck threw 4 picks. Miami lost to SMU because they had 2 turnovers. Miami has never lost a game this year because they've been the less capable team. They've lost games because just kind of fluky things have happened. And that happens in college football. So I look at this Miami team critically and say, well, against Ohio State, I think the number one thing that you need is an elite secondary. If you don't have that, you're going to get cooked. Miami's given up 6 yards per pass attempt, 10th lowest in the FBS. Keontae Scott is going to be huge. Him and Jeremiah, I bet you they're not going to cover Jeremiah Smith one-on-one. They may, probably not. It'll be more of a zone look. Say, hey, let's try to keep everything in front of us, and let's give time, buy time for that pass rush to get to the quarterback, which I will get to. Keontae Scott's going to be huge. One of the best corners in the sport right now. This front seven is what makes things so interesting because you have that secondary that's sort of the backbone, right? This front seven's given up under 3 yards per carry, 7th lowest in the FBS. A&M's been one of the best running teams in the country this year. 35 carries for 89 yards against Miami. That A&M run game had. So Ohio State's, I'm going to guess, is going to have trouble running the ball against them. This is a legit pass rush. Nearly 3 sacks per game, top 15 in the FBS. Ruben Bain might be going number 1 overall in the NFL draft. Akeem Mesidor as well is an absolute stud. They have those 2 guys getting to the quarterback. Sands not necessarily the most mobile guy in the world, so that could be a concern. If you have a secondary that can keep everything at least in front of you, right, and you can buy time, just enough time for that front seven to get to the quarterback and those edge rushers to make some plays, it could be a long day on offense for Ohio State. And Miami on offense isn't going to blow the brakes off of you. But Carson Beck, most of the time, is a very good quarterback. You look at those yards per carry numbers, I think those are a little bit misleading because Mark Fletcher was battling some injuries all year. They had 28 carries for 175 yards rushing against Texas A&M. So they can run the ball better than what the stats say. They have playmakers. Malachi Toney's a guy who can really make DBs nervous. Daniels is not bad either. I think we saw a little bit of Trader in the game. He can take over as well. See, look at how they've lost and the personnel of this team. I think they can really make it hard for Ohio State. I'm not necessarily going to pick them outright, but they are one of very little teams that can go out on a neutral and beat Ohio State. And I think they make that game a little bit closer than people think.